So sweet. Let's go ahead and get started. Today we're looking at two of the best striker fire guns that I own, that being the Springfield Echelon versus the M&P C.O.R.E, the much older M&P C.O.R.E at this point. And I'm going to compare and contrast using a variety of different factors to tell you at the end of the video which one I like the best and why. Let's go ahead and get into it. Let's go ahead and look at the features that differentiate them. And the Echelon has the advantage of time, right? They've been able to take what they've learned from the XD series and from maybe some of these other companies, and they've thrown a lot at this pistol. And so there was so much hype around this gun, I was expecting it to not be as good as what it was. Does that make sense? Not really. But when there's a lot of hype around something, I go into it with a little more cautious, I guess you can say. But these features have made one heck of a gun. I mean, really has, dude. So you'll notice that when you start at the muzzle here, it's wide and then it tapers back. Really aggressive serrations, and they've milled out this area in the slide, allowing you to get a good grip no matter where you do a press check on the front of this gun. They also have that on the rear here, right? So that allows you, again, to get a solid purchase no matter the conditions on the front or rear of the slide. They have their adaptive grip texturing, and they have that texturing here for your support hand, on the takedown lever, under the trigger guard, double undercut trigger guard at that. And that adaptive grip texturing, basically to the touch, it's pretty tame, but once you grab onto it, there's another layer underneath that helps to secure the gun in your hand. So it's more so like if you are carrying this gun, you don't want a super aggressive grip texturing against your skin. But when you hold on to it and you grab it, you definitely want it to stay locked into your hand. And so they did a good job there of balancing the two. Fully ambi gun, so your slide stop, magazine release, both full time on the left-hand side of the gun as well. Comes with a 17-round mag and then the extended 20-round mag right there. We will talk about the trigger too after the shooting part of the review. One thing I did want to mention is I'm actually rocking the Trijicon SRO, and this is big thanks to Optics Planet. They sent this out. So I got the RMR, which originally came on the Echelon. I was like, man, let me try this thing with the SRO. And so what they've done here is you got a really nice clear window for the glass. You have auto adjust settings, but you also can manually adjust these as well. And so these buttons are really big, they're tactile, you can feel when you change them. And so you can lock this in with your own settings, or you can actually lock it in with the auto adjust settings, depending on what you want to do. Most of the time when I get at the range, I will actually either bump this up or bump it down a little bit, depending on the conditions and the lighting. But I like the fact that not only does it have auto adjust, but I can also change that. Another big advantage is that it actually has the battery in the top, so you don't have to take this off when you need to do a battery swap. 7075 T6 aluminum, waterproof up to 10 feet, and I don't think I need to really mention the quality with Trijicon. These guys do a fantastic job. First time I used an SRO was on the Sand Viper video that we did last year, and I was really impressed then, and I'm impressed now. And so check out the link in the description if you want to see anything about this one, or even the RMR, and use our discount code to save a little bit of money on those. Now the sight setup, you have a tritium front sight with that nice bright yellow ring there, and then you have the U-notch in the rear. And so besides the trigger, the other things you have is their COG system. And so this allows you to quickly swap frame sizes. So where most guns just have back straps, this one has frame sizes, small, medium, large, and back straps to accommodate your hand. They also have their Viz, and so this allows you to put up to 30 different optics on this gun without plates, straight from the factory. They send you 3 sets of these, and that is one of the best features I've seen on any new pistol this year, in recent years actually. That is fantastic. You don't have to mess around with any plates, and even worse, you don't have to buy additional plates because some companies won't even send you any plates with their guns, which I really hate that. But these guys, they figured out a way to do this without the need of plates. I talk about more of that in the review that I did with the Echelon if you want to know anything else about that. Matter of fact, I've done full reviews on both of these guns, so if there's anything I miss here, you can check those out. The M&P C.O.R.E, although older, no slouch in features. And so the first thing you'll notice, it's actually ported up here with the lightning cuts in the slot. And so while we were shooting, I originally had the Surefire on here. Then I took it off. Then I thought about it. Well, this gun's ported, which will help to keep the muzzle down. This one has a Surefire X300 on it, which will add a little weight to keep the muzzle down. So then I put them back on. So you'll see shooting both ways. And, you know, maybe that'll give you a good idea how this shoots without a light and all of that kind of stuff. But so we got a cool bet going on. Whoever shoots best today actually wins $1,000. So I'm pretty stoked about that. Are you excited?
Yeah, not at all.
Are you up for the challenge?
No.
All right, let's do this. Ooh, she's a banger. So this is going to be an interesting review because I've often deemed the M&P C.O.R.E as one of the best shooting striker fire guns that I own. So this is going to be a pretty freaking good comparison. Both of them are rocking Trigicons. The Echelon has the SRO right there from Optics Planet, and the M&P is rocking the RMR. M&P. Ooh, it's got a different window, so it looks a little bit different. I got to get used to that. Tell you what, let me spray those targets really quick. This holster works with the M&P, but it doesn't lock in, so it'll still work for what we're doing though. Ooh, those shots were ugly. All right. Ah, they're both pretty good. I may need to dial this one in just a little bit better. My shots are a little more spread out with this one, so I'm gonna dial it in and make sure we don't have any kind of optic variances skewing our judgment with these two pistols. You have the long slide here, 5-inch barrel. You have the high night sights, which co-witness with the RMR perfectly, man. And so fantastic job there, steel sights at that. They're not night sights. That's the only thing they're missing, but they are steel high suppressor height sights right there. Full-size Picatinny rail. You do have a loaded viewport so you can see your brass down in the chamber. Your slide stop is full-time ambi, and you can reverse your magazine release for left-handed shooters. Now the difference here with the grip texturing on the M&P is specifically the M2.0. They went really aggressive with the M2.0. Compared to the original M&P, it's better, a lot better. And now over time with like the competitor and some others, they've started to tame that down just a little bit. But this still does a really good job of keeping the gun locked into your hand. You have interchangeable palm swells, and they do send this gun with a variety of plates that you can use to mount up different optics. Magazine release right there. It looks like this with the standard mag in the gun. You have a little tool right here. Basically, you pop that off, and that'll allow you to change your palm swells out. And you can take down the gun without needing to pull the trigger, which I always just make sure the gun's safe and pull the trigger. That's how I take these guns down. That's pretty much it as far as the major features. What about magazine options? So the Echelon, like I said, 17, 20 round options. Problem is, these are proprietary to this gun. And so Smith & Wesson has the advantage this time around of being out a lot longer. So you have the standard 17 round mags. We have the FPC mags. Working the gun. We have the competitor mags that work in the gun. And so Smith & Wesson has done a really good job of coming out with these new models, but making sure that those magazines, those double stack magazines, will work in their full-size guns. So not only do you have more options with the M&P, they're also easier to get as of right now. Price-wise, they're about the same, depending on the magazines you go with for the M&P, but you know, 45, 50 bucks, somewhere around there for your mags. So when it comes to features, I'd say the Echelon, just because of that Viz, wins it hands down. I think they have the advantage of time, and they have a lot of great features with this gun. When it comes to magazine and those options, the Smith & Wesson wins. Let's look at the size of the guns. You can see the M&P is much longer, but then when it comes to the width and the height, they're just about the same, both with 17 round mags. So where does that leave us? How do they do at the range? Let's check that out. I haven't had the M&P C.O.R.E out here in a while, but I figured since the Echelon is such a freaking banger, we're going to take these two and pit them up against each other. Two of the best polymer frame guns that I own, hands down. And we're going to take first shots with the Echelon right now. So sweet. So I think, oh, no. Yeah, failure to feed there. What might be good is because this one's ported, we put the light back on that one. We'll shoot it one more time. That way they both have their own advantage. I think that would be good. Yeah, I've shot this gun a lot. That might be the second issue I've ever had with it. And I haven't cleaned this thing in forever, dude. It's pretty good. Oh no, stovepipe. Interesting. All right, we're gonna load it up one more time. One thing I am gonna do though is I'm gonna clean that feed ramp because I've had this thing for years and dude, it is dirty. So I am gonna clean it really quick and just make sure we're gonna run 2 more mags through each gun. Okay, so I didn't make my job any easier, that's for sure. Both guns shoot incredible, man. And it had been a long time since I cleaned this Smith & Wesson. I had those 2 issues. I cleaned it. I didn't have any issues after that. So I had finally gotten to the point where we started to have issues with that gun. And that is the first time that I can recall ever having an issue with this gun. And so really impressive, man, that I went that long without cleaning it. And so there you go, man. But as far as the way they shoot, they both do a really good job. And I had to get the optic dialed in for the RMR to fit the Smith & Wesson. But if you take a look at the trigger here with the Echelon, you hit the wall, little bit of creep, and it breaks. Reset. It is so smooth and predictable. They really did a fantastic job with the trigger on the Echelon. The M&P, you got to think this is a step up from what they had with the original M&P, that hinge design. They've since went to a flat face trigger, but this is what we're comparing today. So hinge design, you get to the wall, breaks. Very little travel. And so reset, not nearly as audible or tactile, but it's still there. So that's one major improvement they made with this gun. Plus it went through the Performance Center and they do their own tune to it as well. And so that really lends itself to an incredible shooting gun, man. And so I think when it comes to the range, the accuracy, both of them, I would take either one on any day. The Echelon has a little bit more muzzle rise. I think that's all I could really see as far as like the major difference. They both have a relatively small size in here from the back of your palm there to reach to the trigger. And again, you can adjust these things depending on your hand size. But even with the medium size grip on the M&P, there's really no kind of overreach or anything like that. Even when you're firing a little bit quicker, both guns stay on target. I think I was a little bit surprised with the M&P at one point. I was like, man, those are some ugly shots. But all in all, dude, this gun, it's really fantastic. I'd almost call this a draw when it comes to the way they shoot. I mean, they both really are that good. By the way, I will say that much wider window with the SRO makes a big difference when you're drawing up out of your holster and trying to get on target. You notice with the RMR that you have that top window that kind of cuts off some of your vision. It's much easier to see through the SRO. And so even though it sticks up a little bit taller, it definitely gives you a better, cleaner window to look through. So when it comes down to it, man, as far as picking a winner, this one is really tough. I like the grip angle better of the Smith & Wesson. I feel super confident with that gun. But I just think the features on the Echelon and the fact that Springfield has had time to kind of assess where their XD series is and all of that, they have an advantage with time. You know, of course, I like the fact that this one's American made. Springfield is made in Croatia. It's still a fantastic gun, and I like what they've done. I just like the Echelon a little more. I like that trigger break a little bit more. I definitely like the Viz, and I just think overall the gun benefits from the time factor. And so this would be really interesting to get an updated core whenever they come out with one, and then compare them and see where Smith & Wesson is then. Or even take a competitor once I get that back and compare it then to the Springfield Armory. And so the reason I went with an older design versus a newer design is because the M&P Core, still for the money, is one of the best full-size competition type pistols that you can buy. And the fact that all these years later, it is still one of the best, and makes me pause when I talk about which one I like the best and why, is a testament to how good this pistol really is. I just think the Echelon has some more features and a better trigger that I like more. There's where I'm at with it, man. I'd love to hear your opinion on these two guns. If you like this video, maybe you'll like one of these other ones that I've done in the past. Big thanks to you guys. See you in the next one, and as always, hold them down.